Okay, now that we've sort of shown the form input, we now need to accept like a submit event and start adding the logic that's going to save this information to our sort of currently fake database. Let's actually fake up the database even more by going inside index.tsx. We're going to add to-dos is going to be a new set, and this set, we're going to make it like a set of strings. We're going to just add this stuff in here. And now when we load the to-dos, we're going to actually just go return array.from our to-dos up here. And this means when we add to-dos, they're always going to be unique in the to-dos, which is kind of interesting and it's a cool constraint. So we've got our creating new to-do state down here, which we enter by loading the to-dos and then pressing create new. Inside here, we're probably going to need to add a new state, which is going to be where we run our service to save the to-do. So let's add this inside here. And in fact, I'm just going to go back to the to-do app machine here. So we got our new state. We're going to call this saving to-do. And inside here, we're going to need to do a similar thing. So we'll add in our invoke, which is going to be called save to-do. And when that errors, we're going to need to, well, let's imagine that it goes to like an errored state down here, first of all. So this one isn't correct. So we're going to need to change that to invocation error event. And it says errored down there. We may refactor that in a minute. But when we are done here, we've got a choice. We can either, let's say we're saving this to an external database. We can either like directly refetch the database if we want to, or we can kind of like optimistically assign it into the context and save it to the UI without checking that the data has changed. Let's try both. So for now, we're going to go with reload everything, basically. And that's really easy. All we need to do is just go back to our loading to-do state. When we're done saving the to-do, we just navigate back to that state and like everything just works. So let's just make this a little bit cleaner. And there we go. So that's pretty nice. So we also need to send our submit events along when we're done with the form. So let's just simulate that. We're in loading to-dos. We loaded to-dos. We're in to-dos loaded. We press create new. We submit. We save the to-do. When we're done, we load the to-dos again. And when they're loaded, they go back here. Very, very easy to do this kind of refetch logic in XState. This little errored state is kind of annoying me really because we're going to need to because when it errors, we want the user to be able to recover, right? So we want to be able to show the form input again and like submit it again. We could add like a retry button here where they go back to the form input. Oops, I'll just undo that. But actually, I think I'm just going to remove this state and redirect this so it points there. And this means that when it errors, we'll show the form input again directly. Whoops. And we'll probably add like an action on there to save the, to assign the error to context because we probably want to show it. And in fact, because it has the same signature as our load to-dos function here, we can actually reuse this action. So this assign to-dos to context here, or sorry, assign error to context, we can actually just pump it into our on error here. So actions, assign error to context. And that means that we get error handling sort of both ways. When we're loading the to-dos and also when we're saving the to-dos, they'll just be assigned into this error message up here. So that all looks good. We need to add our submit event into the events up here. So type submit. And we also need to add our save to do into our services up here. So save to do data. We're actually going to say void because we're loading everything like in here anyway. We don't really need to return anything from this because we're not saving anything to context at that moment. So let's start implementing this. Let's go into index.tsx. We've got an error here because we need to save our to-do. So we're going to say async and we're going to return, we don't need to return anything actually because we just return void. We're going to say todos.add and this is going to be context event and then context dot create new to-do form input. So that's going to add that to our to-dos, and the load to-dos is going to come back in and swoop in and grab it. So we've got to create new here. We're going to need to wrap this form input in a form. And inside here, we're going to say on submit. We're going to grab the event from there, and we're going to say e.prevent default. So sorry, use the platform folks, because we don't want the default behavior of going off to another web page. And we're going to say send, which sends something to our state machine. We're going to send the submit event. And this send, as you can see, it's just sending it up to the use machine up there. So let's go now into our application where we create a new to-do, which shows our form inputs. We say feed cats inside here, which adds it into our context. We press return, which is going to submit it. So fire the on submit event. And then bam, it's inside here. So the to-dos are loaded now, and that went too fast for us to see, basically. And I'm kind of interested to see what would happen if we just add in like a sleep there. But conceptually what happened, we can simulate it. We can load the to-dos, create a new one, submit. When we're done, go back here, and then load again. And it grabbed it from the set up there. So we're starting to see how all the pieces fit together, and you can add kind of these multiple layered processes on top of each other using these hierarchical states, using these error handlers, etc. All working well.